Hello, students. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope your Monday is going well, wherever in the world you are. I'd love to start our English Power Hour. If you could tell me one thing you're thankful for. We just finished the holiday of Thanksgiving here in the United States, a time to reflect and be grateful. So I would love to hear from you. Type it in the chat. What's one thing you are thankful for? As for me, I'm really thankful for, of course, family and friends, and just being surrounded by love this Thanksgiving. And I'm also thankful for my nice warm house because the weather is definitely starting to get colder. And I'm thankful for all of you, my students at Espresso English, because you are who keep me motivated to keep producing these lessons, these live streams, these courses, and these ebooks. And every day I receive so many wonderful comments from students, both inside and outside my courses, telling me about how Espresso English lessons have helped you and changed your life. And so that really encourages me, and I'm thankful for you. All right, let's see some of your comments. Someone wrote, I'm thankful for everything. Awesome. It's a great attitude to have, is to be grateful pretty much every day. Let's see. I'll give the chat a minute to catch up. I see that people are still joining our live stream. Okay. Couple of folks saying that they're also thankful for Espresso English. Yay, I'm so happy. Good morning. I've got comments from, let's see, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So I'm trying to keep up with everybody here. All right. So I invited you today for an English Power Hour. And we're celebrating right now our Black Friday sale. If you're watching this on December 1st, then you still have one more day. We have today and tomorrow to get 50% off any Espresso English course or ebook. Okay, so I'm showing you some things on the screen, but you can also just visit espressoenglish.net/Black Friday to see what's available. And so today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you a tiny piece from each course, so that way you can see what it's like and what we cover, and then that will help you choose the right one. If you're not sure, I know we have a lot of courses, a lot of ebooks, there's lots of options. So hopefully seeing a tiny bit from each course will help you choose which one to join. Okay, good afternoon. I'm from Brazil. I'm thankful for my family. We definitely have some longtime students here. Yep, bought a load of your courses. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so I've separated out the courses into 4 categories. And so maybe this will help provide a little bit of clarity about which course you might want to join. I have first the most popular courses. So these are the ones that most students have joined over the years. I have the category of most advanced courses. So if you are a more experienced English learner and you're looking for a challenge, then those might be right for you. I have a category called essential skills, which are really the building blocks of English fluency. They are essential. You need them, right? And then I have a category called fixing mistakes. Mistakes are a part of learning anything, especially a language, but these courses will especially help you correct them, learn from them, and make sure that you are speaking and writing correctly. All right? Okay. Good morning. All right. Thank you so much for your nice comments. And if you are a student in one of these courses, tell me in the chat, as some of you have already been doing. So as I present the courses, if you have joined or if you have benefited from one of these courses or you liked it, you learned a lot, make sure to tell me in the chat so I can give you a shout out in the video. Okay, let's get started. Our most popular courses and ebooks are Phrasal Verbs in Conversation, Everyday English Speaking, and there are 2 levels of that, the Business English course, and the ebook 1000 English Collocations in 10 Minutes a Day. These are among all of our, we have almost 20 courses and ebooks, I think. These are the 4 most popular. So let's jump in. I'm going to teach you just a tiny piece of one of the lessons from each of these. Let me just get to a question real quick. The best for B1 level, I would suggest Everyday English Speaking Course Level 1, Vocabulary, you'll see that a little later, and probably the Phrasal Verbs course as well. Maybe the listening course using the slower audio, okay? All right. Okay, so phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs in conversation is really interesting because it teaches you phrasal verbs in context. So this is a bit of the conversation from a lesson about phrasal verbs in conversation. Phrasal verbs for communication. Okay, so we have Vanessa says, I did the stupidest thing the other day. I'm embarrassed to even talk about it. And Lewis says, come on, fess up. What did you do? Fess up is a phrasal verb that means to confess, to admit and talk about something that you did wrong or a mistake you made. Okay, this is very informal. You say fess up when you are asking someone to confess. So Lewis wants Vanessa to tell him what the stupid thing she did was. So then Vanessa replies, remember I told you about how my boss always talks down to me and treats me like I'm incompetent? So she says her boss talks down to her. What does that mean? That phrasal verb means to talk to a person as if they were stupid or inferior or incompetent. So maybe that's using really simple language or a very arrogant tone of voice, right? That's what it means to talk down to somebody. So Lewis responds, yeah, and I said, you should speak up. It's not right to treat an employee like that. Speak up has 2 meanings in English, actually. Speak up can mean to speak louder, increase the volume of your voice. But in this case, speak up actually means to say your opinion about something that you believe is wrong without fear or hesitation. So you'll often see people saying, we need to speak up about injustice. We need to speak up about some cause or something that's wrong in society. So that doesn't mean, in this case, speak louder. It means to kind of present your opinion fearlessly. Okay, so Lewis suggests that Vanessa should speak up. And Vanessa says, well, I didn't want to cause any problems, so I usually just try to tune him out. Okay, let's stop there. To tune him out means to ignore him and pretend she doesn't hear him, just kind of not really pay attention to his words. And then she says, but yesterday I finally got fed up and called him out on it, respectfully, of course. So to call someone out means to challenge or confront the person, especially about something they are doing wrong. Vanessa continues, I just pointed out that I've been with the company for 2 years. So to point out something means to call attention to a particular fact. And then she says, and he doesn't need to spell out every single task as if I were a child. So to spell something out, spelling is literally saying the letters, right? S-P-E-L-L. But to spell out information means to describe it and explain it in very carefully in a kind of detailed way. All right, so the conversation continues. Unfortunately, I don't have time to show you the whole thing, but that's a little bit of what the phrasal verbs in conversation course is like. Then, after I teach you the phrasal verbs in context, there's a quiz and also short answer questions. So after learning the phrasal verbs, you'll be able to use them immediately in your own English and send in your answers and get correction from a member of our teaching team. So quick summary on the phrasal verbs and conversation course. It's 30 lessons, and those teach you over 500 common English phrasal verbs, again, in the context of conversations. You'll be able to practice using them through those short answer questions and get feedback from a teacher. As with all of our courses, the phrasal verbs course comes with lifetime access, and it's normally $30, but you can get it for $15 right now during our Black Friday sale. This is by far the most popular course, and I think it's a really fun, engaging, and natural way to learn these phrasal verbs, which are really, really common in everyday spoken English. So speaking of everyday spoken English, we also have the speaking courses. Level 1 is great for pre-intermediate and intermediate learners, and it has more of a practical focus, so situations from daily life. Shopping, traveling, socializing, talking on the phone, right? And then level 2 is good for upper intermediate and advanced students, and that has higher level conversations that work in informal expressions, slang, phrasal verbs are also included in this, and it's just a little more advanced. So the everyday speaking courses really focus on teaching you phrases and expressions that native English speakers use. Sometimes when you're an English learner and you've learned a lot of words, it's still hard to put them together into phrases. And so if you learn the phrases, it's like a shortcut, right? The other thing is that sometimes you may have learned a phrase, but you only know one way to say it. And so you end up feeling like you're repeating yourself all the time. Well, the speaking courses will give you more options, right? The more options you have to express yourself, the more fluent you are. So instead of just one way to say something, you'll learn a bunch. So here is a tiny piece from speaking course level 1. It's about telephone conversations. And earlier in the lesson, there was a formal telephone conversation, like calling a business to talk about something. And now this is the contrasting example of an informal conversation. So Linda says, hello. And Ryan says, hi, Linda, it's Ryan. How's it going? Linda replies, pretty good, thanks. How about you? Ryan says, I'm fine. Sure glad it's Friday. Hey, is Peter there? And Linda replies, yeah, hold on, I'll get him. Peter, Ryan's on the phone. And then Peter says, after Ryan comes to the phone, hey, Ryan, what's up? Ryan says, not much. Are you going, not much. Are you up for going fishing this weekend? And Peter says, hang on, let me just check with my wife to make sure we have no other plans. So if you are doing a formal phone call, again, calling a business or doing something kind of official, you would open by saying, hello, this is, and then your name. But informally, we can just say, hey, Linda, it's Ryan. Okay. Hi, John, it's Shayna. So there's a difference between how we start a phone call between formal and informal English. And then 2 different ways to ask about the other person. Of course, we can say, how are you? But it's probably more common for native English speakers to say, how's it going? Or what's up? And to answer those 2, how's it going? You can say, great. You can say, pretty good, thanks. Or you can say, not so good if things are not going very well. To answer what's up, we typically say not much or nothing much. I don't know why. It's just kind of the way we respond to what's up. And in the conversation, we also saw how about you to return the same question to the other person. So if someone asks you, how's it going? You can say, pretty good. And then say, how about you? To ask them, and how's it going with you? In the conversation, we also see a couple different ways to ask someone to wait. So we can say, hold on. We can say, hang on a sec being short for second. We can say just a minute or just a sec. All different ways to ask someone to wait that sound more natural than saying, please wait. Okay, we probably wouldn't say that on an informal phone call. So again, that is a tiny piece of one of the 45 lessons inside the Everyday English Speaking course level 1. There are 45 lessons in the course, which teach you over, I didn't count them exactly, but I estimated by how many are in each lesson, over 1,000 useful phrases for daily life, travel, shopping, restaurants, socializing, much, much more. And a really cool opportunity in this course is that you can record yourself speaking. Some of the lessons have like a question at the end with a link where you can send us a voice message and then get feedback on your speaking from our teaching team. So the voice message makes it so that it's low pressure. It's not a live conversation. You could record yourself. If you don't like it, you can try again. But you will really get a lot of benefit if you do those voice messages. And it's normally $45, but it is half price, 50% off right now. All right, let's look at speaking level 2. So this is the higher level version. Speaking level 2 also teaches from dialogues. So this is between Winston and Patrick, and it's a lesson about discussing the news. So Winston says, "Hey, Patrick, did you get the email I forwarded you last week?" And forwarded means to take an email and resend it to another person, okay? Patrick says, I'm not sure. What was it about? Could you refresh my memory? Refresh my memory is an informal way to say, remind me, tell me again about something you probably told me in the past, but I don't remember. Could you refresh my memory? Got it? Winston replies, the message saying that our Springtime Examiner subscription expires at the end of the month. So the Springtime Examiner is a newspaper, and saying that the subscription expires means it will come to an end. It won't be valid anymore at the end of the month. And then Patrick says, you're not seriously considering renewing it, are you? So to renew a subscription means to pay for it again and keep it active for another period of time. Winston replies, I'm definitely renewing it. What I want to know is if you're going to chip in. So this is actually a phrasal verb. Chip in means to contribute money to a shared expense. Or maybe a bunch of people at work are trying to organize a holiday party and everyone chips in, everyone contributes some money to the group project, okay? And Patrick replies, oh, come on, Winston, get with the times. Pretty much everyone in our generation gets their news online. So get with the times is a way to say you need to update yourself. You need to be more modern, okay? Do what everyone else is doing in the present. And Winston defends himself. He says, you can't call that news. What people read online is fluff. Fluff, that's a bit of slang. It means it's content that isn't meaningful. It just exists to kind of fill up space. There's no substance to it. And then he says it's like pure sugar that rots your brain. So rot means to make something decay or decompose, okay? Think about like sugar can give you holes in your teeth. Winston is comparing online news to that, like saying it rots your brain. With a few facts thrown in to make you think you're staying abreast of the news. So to stay abreast of something means to stay updated, to accompany the latest information. And then he says, plus the internet plays fast and loose with the facts. That means plays loose with the facts means it does not carefully check the facts, okay? So the conversation continues from there, but as you can see, I teach you these words, these phrasal verbs, these expressions in context. And like the, oh, sorry, that should say speaking level 2. Yeah, we're talking about level 2. But it also has 45 lessons with over 1,000 expressions, including slang, phrasal verbs, informal expressions. And speaking level 2 also has this opportunity for you to record yourself speaking, send us the voice message, and get feedback on that. Again, it's 50% off for Black Friday until tomorrow, until December 2nd. Let's move on to our business English course. This is approximately an intermediate level course and great for anyone who needs English for your job, or you hope to work in an English speaking environment in the future, or you already do. Business English really covers a lot of the different areas that you'll need, from interviews to business phone calls, networking, contracts, lots more. So this little piece is from the lesson about meetings. So the first thing is, in English, we have a meeting or we hold a meeting. Sometimes I see English learners say do or make a meeting, and unfortunately that's not correct. So we're going to have another department meeting on Friday. Or let's hold a meeting to discuss the policy changes, okay? Have a meeting or hold a meeting. And then there's more again in the full lesson, but here are a couple of phrases that we can use to open a meeting, to start it. We can say, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. We can say, since everyone is here, let's get started. We can say, first, I'd like to welcome you all. Just a couple of different options, phrases you can use to start a meeting. And it's also good at the beginning of the meeting to talk about the topic, the main topic, or the main goal. So you could say, as you can see from the agenda, we'll be talking about, and then say the topic. Or I've called this meeting in order to, and then say the goal. Or you can simply say, our main goal today is to, and then say what it is. So a characteristic of a good meeting, a good business meeting, is that it's focused. It doesn't just ramble with random topics all over the place. So this is a nice way to set that intention for the meeting and make sure everyone stays focused. A common thing that you need to do in a meeting is ask for other people's perspectives. So here are some phrases for that. You can say, what does everyone think about? And then the topic. Or I'd like to get your feedback on whatever you want them to tell you about. What are your thoughts about, or what are your views on? All different phrases you can use to ask for people's opinions. Now, if you need to move the meeting along, like I probably need to move this power hour along a little quicker, we'll probably go for more than an hour, but if you can't stay for the whole time, don't worry, you can watch the replay at the same link. And I also sent out these class slides by email. Okay, so if you need to move the meeting along, you can say something like, I think we've spent enough time on this topic. Moving on, and then introduce the next topic. If the conversation has kind of gone quiet, you could say, if nobody has anything else to add, let's move on to the next item. Or we're running short on time, so let's move on. And you could also say, I'd like to skip item 2 and go directly to item 3. So if you're really pressed for time, you might need to skip, to just pass over certain items in the agenda. That's just a tiny piece of the meetings lesson. We cover interview English. We cover around vocabulary around the office, company structures, careers and compensation, telephone English for business, letters and emails, networking, small talk, project development. I don't even have room to show you everything here. Management and HR, finance, marketing, manufacturing, customer service. 40 lessons. Every lesson includes a quiz, and every 10th lesson is a progress test to help you review even more. And we cover essential vocabulary, useful phrases, and just professional sounding English, right? You don't want to sound like, you don't want to be using slang in business English. You don't want to maybe use some of the English you might have heard in movies. You want to sound professional. So that's what the business English course will help you do. It's normally $40, but it is $20 right now during our Black Friday sale. Okay, on to our most popular ebook, which is the 1,000 Collocations in 10 Minutes a Day ebook. And collocations refers to how we put words together, the common combinations of words we use. So we say take a picture, right? We don't do a picture or make a picture. We take a picture. You probably know a lot of those basic collocations. This is a little more intermediate level because it puts together some words that you might not have learned in just the basics. Okay, so here's an example from collocations about success and failure. The collocations are in bold. So, successful Samantha has a long list of impressive accomplishments. Impressive is a word that we tend to use together with accomplishments. It seems like everything she does ends up being a phenomenal success. Phenomenal success. That means a really great, a really big success. In her very first job, she created a highly effective way to motivate the company's employees. So we say highly effective. We don't say largely effective. We don't really say greatly effective. We can say very effective, but it's almost more common to say highly effective, right? Resulting in a dramatic improvement in workplace morale. So you can say a big improvement or a large improvement, but if you want to give extra emphasis and also sound more fluent Dramatic emphasizes that there's just a huge difference between where it was and where it is now. You can say a dramatic improvement. Now she's developing a system for real-time translation among 100 different languages. If she can pull it off, it will be an unprecedented success. So unprecedented means for the first time in history. So an unprecedented success means succeeding in something for the very first time. No one has ever done it before. And the crowning achievement of her career. So that means the best or the most significant achievement, okay? We probably wouldn't really say best achievement or top achievement. Crowning achievement really gives that extra emphasis and just sounds very natural and fluent. So far, the program has enjoyed modest success. Modest success means some limited success, but there is still room for improvement. That means there's potential for improvement. Notice that we say room for improvement. We don't say space for improvement. We don't say area for improvement. Those sound weird, but we say room for improvement. There's a lot more to that lesson, and there's 50 total lessons in this ebook. Each lesson is followed by a quiz to make sure you remember the collocations and which word combines with which other word. So it consists of 50 short and sweet lessons. You really can do them in 10 minutes a day, about 5 minutes to read or listen to the lesson, and then 5 minutes to do the quiz. It's downloadable text and audio, MP3s. I looked recently at how many students have bought this ebook, and it's over 16,381, so very popular. And it's normally $15, but you can get it for $7.50 right now during the Black Friday sale. You don't need any kind of discount code. The price is already set to be discounted if you visit espressoenglish.net/Black Friday. But again, the sale ends tomorrow. All right. Let's continue to our most advanced courses. And those are Advanced English Grammar, Advanced Vocabulary and Collocations, and the 300 plus English Idioms course. We've got a couple other ones that advanced students would benefit from, but these are probably the 3 most advanced. So if you're looking for a challenge, these are the ones to join. For advanced grammar, I'm going to go through a little bit of the lesson on modal verbs for deduction. So these are words like must have, could have, shouldn't have, couldn't have, might have, and all those. So to express certainty about something that happened in the past, we can use must have. For example, there was 1 banana left, but now it's gone. My husband must have eaten it. So if he's the only other person in the house and the banana is gone, my husband must have eaten the banana. I'm sure about that. I'm sure about what happened in the past. And if we're sure that something did not happen in the past, we use couldn't have. So your classmate's notebook is missing and he thinks that Martha took it. And you could say, Martha couldn't have taken your notebook. She wasn't even in class yesterday. So this is saying, I'm certain that was impossible. Martha couldn't have taken your notebook. To talk about possibility in the past, we use might have. So if I go visit my friend, she's not home. I don't know where she is, but she might have gone to the store. That's a possibility. She might have gone to the store. And we could also use could have for possibilities in the past. So if I'm talking to my son who rode his bike home without a helmet, I could say, why didn't you wear a helmet? You could have gotten hurt. So he didn't get hurt, but it was possible for him to get hurt. You could have gotten hurt. Now, to talk about a better action in the past than what actually happened, we would use should have. So you did not help your friend when your friend was having trouble, but you should have helped when you saw your friend was having trouble, okay? You didn't, but you should have. I'm talking about what would have been better in the past. And we can also use shouldn't have for the opposite situation. I made an angry comment. I shouldn't have said that. So should have and shouldn't have we use often for talking about regrets, past regrets. Now, would have. We use would have to imagine a past result if the past had been different. So let's say I dropped out of college. If I hadn't dropped, or I dropped out of a master's degree program. If I hadn't dropped out, I would have gotten a master's degree. So what actually happened was I did drop out and I didn't get the degree, but I'm imagining how the past would have been different if I had taken a different, made a different decision in the past. If I hadn't dropped out, I would have gotten a master's degree. And opposite too, wouldn't have. So I left too late and I missed my flight. If I had left earlier, I wouldn't have missed my flight. Okay, again, imagining a past result if the past had been different. I know I just flew through those really fast, but that's why you need to join the advanced grammar course so you can go through them more slowly, practice them. There's a lot more to the lesson that one was from. Advanced grammar has 45 lessons, and the end of each lesson, it has a writing task that helps you use the grammar, and again, with teacher feedback. Really important, especially for more advanced students, because other people who you interact with might not correct you or tell you that what you're saying or writing is wrong. So you need to get that feedback to really perfect your grammar, and especially these more complicated structures. So the advanced grammar course is normally $90, and it is $45 right now during our Black Friday sale. Next, advanced vocabulary and collocations. So the advanced vocabulary and collocations alternates between vocabulary-focused lessons and then collocations-focused lessons, both on the same theme. So the little piece I'm going to show you right now is from a lesson on advanced vocabulary for talking about personality and behavior. So you can describe someone as assertive if they often take initiative. They are bold and confident in putting forward their ideas. Assertive people are often outspoken. If someone is outspoken, that means they are not shy or reserved about stating their honest opinions. That can be considered a good quality or a bit of a negative quality, depending on how they go about it. Someone who is charismatic is a type of person who naturally attracts others through their warm, friendly, almost hypnotizing or like magnetic personality. People tend to be attracted to, not necessarily in a romantic sense, but drawn towards a charismatic person. We can also describe someone as cultured, which means they are educated, they're refined, they have good manners and social skills. So I start out, those are all pretty positive words. Oh wait, here's another positive one. A cultured person would also be courteous. That means they are polite and they show consideration towards others, like by opening the door for someone or giving up their seat on the bus if there's an elderly or a pregnant person. So those are some positive ones. Again, I'm not presenting the whole lesson to you here, just a couple of paragraphs, but let's also go to the negative ones. If you describe someone as callous, that means they have a hard heart. It's like they have no emotions or no feelings for others. So a callous person would not care if other people were hurt. We have a bunch of words to describe someone who thinks they are better than others. We can call them conceited. We can say they're cocky. That's an informal one. We can say they're pompous, condescending. We can also use the word arrogant, right? Uh-oh. Okay. Can you guys still see me? Someone who is especially annoying can be described as obnoxious. We can say a person is obnoxious, or we can call their behavior obnoxious. It means really, really annoying. And a specific type of obnoxious person is someone who is meddlesome or nosy. That's a person who wants to know about or interfere in other people's private affairs. Do you know anybody like this? So those were a few vocabulary words from a lesson on personality and behavior. And then the next lesson would continue that theme by looking at collocations with character and behavior, like impeccable character, meaning someone like who's like perfect. Colorful character, that means someone who is very very interesting, kind of different from the norm. Volatile character, someone whose mood can go like up and down. We talk about character traits, and which are like characteristics, like the things that describe someone. And someone doing things that are out of character, meaning something that doesn't seem to match the type of person they are. So there are like 20 or 30 or more collocations in the lesson, but I don't have time to go through them all. The Advanced Vocabulary and Collocations course has 45 lessons, again, alternating between vocabulary and collocations on the same theme. And it has the main teaching part, it has quizzes, and it also has these short answer questions that help you use the new vocabulary, again, with teacher feedback. This course is normally $90, but it is $45 if you join right now, today, December 1st, or tomorrow, December 2nd. Don't wait till the last minute, because with different time zones and everything, you might miss the deadline, okay? Next, we have our 300 plus idioms course. What's interesting about this course is that it teaches you idioms in a little bit of a different way. It doesn't just show you a list and tell you to memorize them. Instead, we go through this four-step process. I show you a sentence with the idiom, and you try to guess the meaning of each idiom in context. So you're working on your skill of figuring it out from the sentence, okay? Then you would watch, read, or listen to my video explanation. Next, you would test yourself with the quiz. And finally, you would try to use the idioms yourself. We help you do this with short answer questions and get feedback. So I'm going to show you an example. This is an example of step 1. After the earthquake, volunteers worked around the clock to bring food and water to the victims. So based on that sentence, does around the clock mean as fast as possible, in shifts, or without stopping? What do you think from that sentence? Oh, I didn't put a slide with the correct answer, but I'll tell you the correct answer. Around the clock means without stopping. So like, the hand goes round and round the clock. If you're working around the clock, it means you're doing it without stopping, like all 24 hours in the day. All of our courses you can find at espressoenglish.net/Black Friday. That's where you can go to get them on sale. Again, for today and tomorrow. After that, you can still find the courses on the website, espressoenglish.net, but they will be back up to normal price. All right, let's try another one. Although scientists have made great progress in developing treatments for cancer, we're still light years away from curing it completely. So does light years away mean far in the future? Does it mean probably impossible? Or does it mean just a few years away? What do you think from the context? Light years away. I don't remember exactly how far a light year is, but it's very, 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 very far. And so, yep, light years away means it's far in the future. Okay, great job. Far in the future. And with these, it is okay if you get them wrong, because you're just practicing using your thinking skills. I expect most students to get some of these wrong as you're trying. Not all of them are obvious. Maybe some of them you haven't heard before. So don't worry. Just do your best and then keep watching so that you learn what they mean. Last one. My dog starts barking every morning at 6 a.m. like clockwork. Does that mean like clockwork? Does that mean earlier than expected? Does it mean exactly at regular times? Or does it mean inside your house? Which one do you think? I'll wait until someone tries an answer here. Congratulations. Yes, like clockwork means exactly at regular time. So just like a clock always chimes at the correct hour, my dog starts barking every morning, always at 6 o'clock every single day at the same time. So nice. A lot of you got that one. Great job. So that's just a little piece of step 1 of one of the lessons inside the idioms course. But like I explained earlier, there are 4 steps. So there's the discovery quiz is what I call it, which is what we just did. Then you would watch my explanation to find the right answers and to see some more examples. Then you would take a quiz to try using those idioms, and then you would practice using them yourself in your own sentence, your own sentences. So 30 lessons in the idioms course. We do offer the teacher feedback on your sentences, and it's normally $30, but $15 when you get it right now during Black Friday. Actually, the idioms course has probably been the most popular advanced course during Black Friday. So although it's not one of the most popular courses in general, during Black Friday, we've seen a lot of students joining this one. Okay? All right. Next, our next category is called essential skills. And all of these skills are essential for fluency, right? And in order to be fluent in English, you need them all. But I put these because they are kind of some of the building blocks. Like if you don't have these, it's going to be very hard to even make any progress in English. So I put vocabulary builder, levels 1 and 2, the listening course, and the reading course. So let's start with the vocabulary level 1. Level 1 is probably good for pre-intermediate students, I would say, maybe intermediate. I'm going to show you a piece of lesson 1. It gets a little more advanced from there. Yeah. Okay, vocab level 1. So we start by doing an around the house lesson. So for example, the bedroom, you look at the bed, we have the sheet, that's like the thinner covering, and then the blanket, that's the thicker covering. You lay your head on pillows. And then next to the bed, we have this little table that lives next to the bed is called a nightstand or a night table. And then we have a lamp on top of it. In the bedroom, you will, those words are hard to say. You also probably have a closet to store your clothes. A closet is usually a larger area where you can hang clothes on hangers. That's the next one. It's right next to the closet. On hangers, you can hang, any type of clothing, but especially you would want to hang shirts, dresses, things that you don't want to get like folded and wrinkled. You would hang those on hangers. Other clothes you might put in a dresser. So that one on the bottom is called a dresser. You probably put your socks and your underwear in there. And that dresser has 5 drawers. Okay, drawers are the things, the little compartments that you can slide out of the dresser. And I know that word is a little tricky for sometimes non-native speakers to pronounce, drawers. At the end of every vocabulary builder lesson, I have a pronunciation practice part where I just say the words from the lesson so you can practice repeating them after me. Moving on to the kitchen, we have cabinets. Those are like the little doors that you can open and put stuff in. We have shelves, which are the like flat areas that are not covered by a door. We have the counter. The counter or countertop is the surface where you prepare food. You cut things up, you mix things and so on. What else do I have in there? In your kitchen, you might have an oven. So the oven is the part where you open up the door and you put something inside. And then the stove is the top part where you cook things on top of it. And you might also have a microwave. I didn't put it in the picture, but on the left, we have a refrigerator, or as we more commonly say in English, fridge for short. And so we go on through the house, and that's just a little bit of lesson 1, which is around the house. Each lesson has a main teaching, which is video, audio, or text, whatever you prefer. A pronunciation practice part where I just say the words so you can listen and repeat each one. Really important to make sure you're pronouncing them correctly. A quiz or a worksheet to help you review, and then short answer questions. Again, I really emphasize you trying to use this English that you're learning yourself and then getting feedback. That's the way you're going to remember it better, and that's the way that it's going to become part of your English. And so we go through around the house, money, clothes, shopping, food and drink, restaurants, cars and driving, public transportation, body and health, work, school, phones and computers, sports. I don't even have room to show you all of the lessons, but if you go to the vocabulary course page, you can see all the topics we cover. So there are 30 total lessons in Vocabulary Builder Level 1. Lots of visual vocabulary, lots of pictures, because pictures help you remember it better. It's actually proven that using visuals, using images, help you retain vocabulary better. those quizzes and short answer questions with feedback. This course is normally $30, but it's 50% off right now during Black Friday. Moving on to vocabulary level 2. This is good for, I guess, intermediate, maybe upper intermediate students. This little piece of a lesson is about car accidents. So you might not know, but there are different terms for car accidents in English. So when two vehicles crash into each other while traveling in opposite directions, we call this a head-on collision. So collision is the noun form of collide, the verb collide. So a head-on collision is when two cars just go like that. That's one of the most dangerous forms of car crashes. On the other end, we have a fender bender. That's a very small accident with very minor damage to the cars involved. So maybe they just bumped each other, maybe got a couple of dents, but no major damage. We call that a fender bender. Now, sometimes multiple cars hit each other. This can be called a pileup. This very often happens in bad weather, like really heavy rain, snow and ice. You might get a pileup of cars. Sometimes a car hits a person or hits another vehicle, but instead of stopping, the driver of the car just drives away. And that type of accident is called a hit and run. And it's illegal to do that in the United States. If you have an accident, you have to stop. You're supposed to wait for the police and exchange information with the other driver and make sure everyone's okay. But if the person just hits someone or something and drives off, that's called a hit and run. Don't do that. Another example, I put a little diagram there so you can see. The taxi sideswiped a parked car, then rear-ended a van. So to sideswipe another car is to kind of like brush it on the side. You kind of like hit it on the side and keep going. And then the taxi rear-ended a van. That means it hit the back part of the van to rear-end someone or another car. So tiny piece of one lesson, but we also cover finance, health, cooking, taking care of your home, work and employment, education, social gatherings, clothing, movies, books. Cradle to grave is about like life cycle, human life cycle, appearance, relationships, character, and lots more. So vocabulary 2, very, very similar format to vocabulary 1. There's a main teaching, there's that pronunciation practice section, there's the quiz and the short answer questions with feedback. There's 30 lessons, still lots of visual vocabulary and the practice, and it's $15 right now, normally $30. So that price will be going back up to normal price after December 2nd. Okay, listening course. Now, I'm not actually going to do an excerpt from the listening course. I'm just going to explain to you how it works and why it's so effective. So you could listen to English anywhere, right? There's a billion English podcasts out there and videos on YouTube, but here's how the lessons in the listening course help you improve more effectively. We use a method that I like to call progressive listening or step-by-step listening to help you understand more and more every time you listen. Because have you ever had the experience that you're listening to something in English and a word or a phrase goes by that you don't know, and then you think about it for a second and you kind of get lost and you don't hear the next thing, and then you kind of lose it. This will help you not do that. This will help you build your confidence and understand more and more. So the first step is before each lesson, I pre-teach you just a couple of vocabulary words that you're going to hear so that you're not confused by them when you do hear them, okay? Then I ask you to listen once for the general idea, and I give you a specific question to answer or something to listen for, but it's very general, okay? So you don't need to catch every detail. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about catching every word. Just focus on the question I give you and trying to answer that. Then I have you listen again for some specific details. This time you'll listen while answering multiple choice questions, or it might be true or false. So you just listen and try to you're already familiar with it because you've heard it once, and now you try to answer those more specific questions. So that's the second time you're listening. The third time, you listen for specific words. So in this step, I give you the text, but some words are missing, and you need to try to listen and fill in the missing words. So now you have almost the complete picture. And then finally, you can listen another time with the full text. Okay, so this really, it takes you from, I hope you can see, from more general to more and more specific, down to the level of individual words. And it really helps the listening become clearer and clearer every time you do it. And it builds your confidence too. The listening course has 45 lessons, and two really cool features of this course. Each lesson comes with both faster and slower audio. So this makes it good both for kind of more intermediate students and more upper intermediate to advanced students. Intermediate students, I would suggest using the slower audio, at least until you build that confidence, and then more advanced students use the faster audio. Also, I got help to do the listening course. It's not just me talking. We have various voices and various accents. So the lessons rotate between American accent, British accent, and Australian accent, both men and women, different speakers, because it's important for you to get used to listening to different people, not just me all the time, although I love that you listen to me often. And again, we follow that step-by-step process that really builds your confidence. It's normally $45, but it's half price during the Black Friday sale. Do not wait. Make sure you get your listening lessons today or tomorrow before the time runs out. All right, moving on, we have the reading course. The reading course also has like multiple activities inside each lesson. So first, I'm going to take you through a bit of one of the texts and just define the vocabulary words. Let me get to my notes. Okay, so this is from a lesson about staying motivated. Staying motivated can be a real struggle. Sometimes the task at hand is too difficult or too tedious to maintain your interest. Sometimes you get sidetracked. Okay, my little picture keeps disappearing here. I want to make sure you can still see me and hear me. The words in bold are the ones that right under each paragraph in the text or next to it, I define them. So sometimes the tasks are too tedious to maintain your interest. Tedious means boring or monotonous. It means it's like the same thing every time. There's no variation. Another problem is that sometimes you get sidetracked. To get sidetracked means to get like distracted by something that's not in line with your main goals. Like you're on the main track and then you see something over there and whoop, you go sidetracked. You get sidetracked. Sometimes you feel crushed by the sheer number of your responsibilities, and it seems easier to give up or ignore them. So to feel crushed means to be like completely destroyed by pressure. So sometimes we can use that literally, like to crush a can or a bottle, but sometimes you feel crushed. It means like you feel completely destroyed by the pressure, by the sheer number of your responsibilities. So the sheer number means like only the number. Without considering anything else, just the number itself is so huge. How can we optimize our behavior in order to get the job done? Here are a few things that can grease the wheels. So optimize is a verb. It means to make something the best it can be, okay? And grease the wheels is an informal expression that means to make things run more smoothly. So the first tip is create a constructive environment. If your space isn't conducive to work, you're apt to become scatterbrained. Saying you're apt to do something means you have a natural tendency to do it. And to become scatterbrained means like distracted, thinking about too many different things. Now you might notice the word conducive is in yellow. So the words that are in bold, I give you the definition. And then the words that are in yellow, the words that are highlighted, I ask you to try to figure out from the text. So, do you think conducive means comfortable and enjoyable, helping or contributing, or reserved, protected? Anyone want to take a guess? I know we have a little bit of a time delay. Okay, one person says A. Anybody else? Thank you, thank you. Helping. Okay, that's B. You got it right. The correct answer is B. So if your space isn't conducive to work, something that is conducive means like it helps or it contributes, it facilitates your work. Okay. So yeah, this is the challenge, is trying to figure out some of the words from the context of the text. So the reading course has 40 lessons, and I forgot to mention these texts, they're written at a native speaker level. So they're not like simplified for English learners. So this course is actually appropriate for, I'd say, intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced students. And as I mentioned, there's a few different activities with each lesson. There's the vocabulary from the text. There's a comprehension question. There's comprehension questions. I didn't show you those, but it tests how well you understood the texts. There's the Discover New Words quiz, which I take about 5 or 6 words from the text, and I do what we just did with the word conducive, ask you to try to guess what it means. And then each lesson also has writing tasks with feedback. Normally $80 and $40 for Black Friday. Someone's asking here, what kind of texts are in this course? They're all nonfiction, so they are all like just different topics, and gosh, they cover a lot of different areas. Let me see if I can pull up the lesson list real quick. Let me see. I don't have it. Let's see. Just to like find some of the different topics that we've got. Reading. Where are you? There it is. So some of the topics, jobs that no longer exist, celebrations around the world, business blunders, conspiracy theories, cultural perceptions of time, development of artificial intelligence, helicopter parents, interesting recent inventions. This was from How to Stay Motivated, parenting styles around the world, unusual hotels, strange sports, songs that changed the world, the origins of Disney. It varies a ton. There's so many different topics. And here's a very important question. The price for all the time or for a month. All of these are one-time payments, and they give you lifetime access. So you pay once, you keep access to the lessons forever. There's no time limit. You can study at your own pace. I understand that life gets busy and is not always possible to keep up. That's why I don't limit your time to access these, okay? All right. Our final category is fixing mistakes. And here we have the American English pronunciation course. We have 600 plus confusing English words explained, and we have 200 common errors in English. So with the pronunciation course, what we do is we go through every single sound in the English language, and we practice them in words. We practice making the difference between similar sounds, and we practice them in sentences. So lesson 1 of the pronunciation course focuses on seat, set, and sit. So one good way to get the hang of a sound is to compare it to other words that also have that sound. So the E sound in seat is like in the words easy, even, green, peace, and key. They all have that E sound, although as you can tell, it's spelled a couple different ways in English. The I sound in sit is like in the words if, big, little, win, and finish. Okay, those all have the I sound. It's the short I sound. And then we have set, egg, 10, head, friend, again. Okay, those all have the sound, and it can be spelled several different ways. So we have seat, sit, set. So now we practice making the difference, like between leave and live, teen and 10, sheep and ship, And there's also exercises where I will say one word of the two, and you have to try and guess which one it is. So, for example, for this first one, I will say bit. That's B-I-T, bit. Okay, for the next one, I will say letter. That's L-E-T-T-E-R, letter. For the third one, I will say check. Again, it's the second one, C-H-E-C-K, check, not cheek. Okay, so learning to make the difference and learning to hear the difference. And I forgot to put some sentences in here, but it's 30 lessons. We practice every sound in both words and sentences. Even those tricky sounds like TH, R is another challenging one for a lot of English learners. We give you tons and tons of practice. And at the end, you can record yourself speaking and get a detailed evaluation of your pronunciation so you know what you're doing well and which sounds you might need a little bit more practice. Okay. So normally $30, but only $15 right now. I know some teachers charge $100 just for an evaluation. You get it included in the course. So this is an absolute steal. Let's move on to 600 plus confusing words. This is an ebook, and a couple of the words that we cover are complement with an I, complement with an E, and then complementary with an I and with an E. Okay, you ready to learn these? Compliment with an I is a positive comment, or to make a positive comment, like your English is great, or that haircut looks great on you. You know, making a positive comment, compliment. Can be a noun or a verb. And complement with an E means that two things go well together, or they make each other appear better. Like you might say that necklace is the perfect complement to your dress. Okay, it's something that goes well together. The necklace makes the dress look better. The dress makes the necklace look better. That's what complement with an E means. Now, complementary with an E in the middle is the adjective form of that, describing things that go well together. So my business partner and I have complementary skills. Like maybe I'm better at doing videos and my business partner hates videos, but they are great at doing all the technology stuff or the administrative stuff. Okay. So complementary is the adjective that describes things that go well together. But complementary with an I in the middle means free. At this hotel, breakfast is complimentary. It's a fancier word for free. I don't know why. So those are those are 4 out of the 600 words you'll learn in here. It's a downloadable ebook with audio that you can also download. It covers 600 words. Each word I give you several example sentences. So there are lots of examples in there to really illustrate the differences clearly. And you can download this ebook, which is normally $15 for just $7.50 right now, today or tomorrow, before the sale ends. Okay, and then we've got 200 common errors. So I've been an English teacher for a long time, for more than 13 years, and I've worked with hundreds of students, and I start to see some of the same mistakes being made over and over. And so that's what motivated me to create this course, 200 Common Errors, because I figured, why not help other students learn from these mistakes and avoid them? So here's an example. A student would say, this box isn't enough big for all the books. That's incorrect. We need to say, this box isn't big enough for all the books. And the little rule to remember is that enough goes after adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. So we say, are you old enough to see this movie? Old is an adjective. And so we say old enough. Are you old enough to see this movie? The teacher speaks slowly enough for me to understand. So slowly is an adverb, slowly enough. I don't exercise enough. Exercise is a verb. I don't exercise enough. But enough goes before nouns. So you would say, there aren't enough chairs for everybody to sit down. Chairs is a noun. So we need to say, there aren't enough chairs. I have enough money to buy this course on sale. Again, money is a noun, so enough goes before a noun. So enough goes after adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, before nouns. Got it? The 200 Common Errors course has 42 lessons. We cover, that one is from the grammar section, but we cover mistakes in grammar. We cover mistakes in vocabulary, like confusing the words marriage and wedding, for example. Common spelling mistakes, common pronunciation mistakes. So this is a little different from the pronunciation course, but ones that I often hear students make a mistake with. And we cover mistakes in learning strategy. You might be going about your English studies the wrong way or in a way that's not so effective. So I teach you the better, the more effective ways to learn English. And so this course is normally $40 and it's $20 right now during the Black Friday sale. So this concludes our English Power Hour. Thank you so much for joining me. I know that was a lot of information to take in, but if any of those topics really caught your attention, if you were like, yes, I want to learn more in that area, or I really liked the format of that lesson, I would highly encourage you to join the associated course before the sale ends. It ends tomorrow, December 2nd at 10 p.m. US Eastern Time. If you're not sure what time that is, just visit espressoenglish.net/Black Friday and you will see a giant countdown timer on the page that shows you how much time you have left to get your course at a discount. This is the last time I'll be offering 50% off individual courses for a little while, at least a couple of months. I'm already starting to plan our 2026 activities, and we're not going to be offering 50% off individual courses for the first few months of the year. So if you've had your eye on a course, or if you've been thinking about joining one, you've been on the fence, that means like not sure whether or not to go, this is your chance to get the best price available all year. It's never discounted more than this. It's our biggest discount of the year, our biggest sale. And I can see it because lots of students are joining. As I mentioned earlier, when you join a course, you get lifetime access. So I know that for a lot of students, they say, oh, I don't want to buy it right now because I don't have time to study in December. I understand. And that's why there's no time limit. So you can get the best price today and start your studies in December, start your studies in January, start them 5 years from now. I have students who have bought courses a couple of years ago who have come back and logged in and just picked up right where they left off. And what's nice about our new courses website is that you can check off the lessons as you complete them. So if you start your lessons, take a break, come back in the new year, you can see, oh, okay, I already did lessons 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go to lesson 4. All right. If you have any questions about any of the courses, please email me. My email is help@espressoenglish.net. Either I or my assistant teacher will reply, or you can visit the contact page on the Espresso English website. So thank you for joining me. I see some folks have stayed to the end. Wow, that's so great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I hope to see some of you inside the courses. Okay? Bye for now. Have a great week.